I've been in education almost 30.
Guest, whether you're here with us in person or watching online, we are glad you've joined us. It is Tuesday, March the 19th, 2024. This is the Education Instruction Committee. So we will now come to order. And Mr. Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Representatives Bain, Sapicki, Chisholm, Cochran, Darby, Dixie, Glenn, Hakeem, Hicks of Washington, Johnson and Knox, Leatherwood, McCalman, Reagan, Todd, White, Vice Chairman Raper, Chair Lady Moody. Madam Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you so much for that. I am Chairman Deborah Moody, and we do welcome you again to this committee. As our custom is, we like to open up with prayer. So my vice chairman, Kevin Raper, will do this for us. So if you'd like to join us, please do.
Thank you, Madam Chair. May we pray? Lord, thank you for just blessing us when we don't deserve it. Thank you so much for all the things that you do for us that we find out later that you are just completely in charge. Lord, thank you for all those present today. We know that no one's here by chance, that it's all part of your infinite plan. Lord, thank you for your son, Jesus, and his sacrifice and his grace and his mercy. We have a special prayer for Madam Chair Moody and her leadership, and we just thank you for that. We ask God in Jesus' name. Amen.
And next, we also like to say the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you'd like to join us too. Before we get to the two bills we have on our calendar, do our committee members have any announcements or welcomings you'd like to make? All right, seeing none. Yeah, excuse me, Chairman White.
Well, you can do it. I guess you're going to recognize our director from Haywood.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll let you do it.
Thank you. We like to fight over you guys, so which is a good thing. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, though. Seeing no hands up, Chairman Raper would like to give us the word of the day.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And we started this tradition in our subcommittee this year. So we're taking it to, at least today, to the full committee. And our word is conspicuous. And it's easily recognizable, striking, eye-catching, conspicuous. And here's my sentence that goes along with it. Nashville is known for the conspicuous Batman building. So our word of the day is conspicuous.
Yeah, is that with a C or a K?
Okay.
Okay. You know, yeah, I think one of the members is asking you to spell it. Sorry. What?
I can spell it, but I'm gonna have to see it from my phone. So I will. Kenspeckle. Conspeckle.
Thank you so much. If you learn nothing else, but you're going to learn a lot today. So that'll be just starting you off. Right now, all right, I'm going to gavel us back into session so we can take up our bills. So the first bill on our calendar today is by Chairman White, House Bill 2242. Chairman, you have a motion and a second.
Thank you, Chairman, Chair Lady, and committee. House Bill 2242 that is before you. What we're doing is making a modification on the bill we passed in 2022. We passed a bill that we would like to see computer sciences taught into our high schools and our middle schools. And in the middle school, when we passed that, then I started getting a lot of calls from directors around the state that said, the bill is being misinterpreted. And what it said, it requires that each public middle school to take one course in computer science education that includes instruction for a minimum of one grading period and for one school year. So the middle school is 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. So they weren't sure. The state board was interpreting it one way, DOE was interpreting it one way. And they said, does that mean we need to offer that in 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, or just one time in middle school? So clarity was, the original intent was just one time in middle school. So this bill clarifies that the intent of the legislation is that we teach computer science in one of those grade levels and leave it up to the district to determine. And then, of course, they go into high school and they have more. So that's what the bill is doing, clarifying the language that it's just one time in middle school.
Thank you for that explanation. I've had the question called.
Fine with me.
Seeing no objection, do I have a motion? Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped down. I'm looking at too many things. All right, we'll now vote on House Bill 2242. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, calendar, you will pass on to calendar and rules.
Thank you. That was a conspicuous job y'all did.
Extra credit. Okay. All right, the pressure's on. Number 5, Representative Lynn, House Bill 2177. Representative, you have a motion and a second. You're recognized.
Conspicuous that many people prefer a reading from paper rather than online. So what this bill says is that a parent would like for their child to have a textbook instead of the subscription to the textbook online, that the school district will provide that for the student.
Any questions from the members? Yes, Chairman Reagan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And to the sponsor, we've had a private conversation. I think it's important to get it on the record for clarity, though. We talked about the cost associated with online versus paper text. Can you expand on that, please?
Thank you very much for asking. Fiscal review did say that it's not significant, and that is because most time the subscription for the textbook costs the same as the textbook. So it's sort of an interchange. And at the beginning of the year, the school district can estimate how many textbooks they might need and simply buy those textbooks, and then the rest is by subscription to the textbook.
Any other questions? All right, seeing none, we will now vote on sending House Bill 2177 to Calendar and Rules. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, you go to Calendar and Rules.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, we are through with our business for the day, and we will have joining us, I'm going to take us out of session. On our calendar today, we have some special guests that will be speaking to us this morning. We have Haywood County Schools Superintendent Amy Marsh, along with Haywood County Middle School student Jasmine Anderson. I hope I say this right. Desharia Russell and Cadence Pearson. They are here to give us an update on the Star Academy program that was implemented in Haywood Middle School this past fall. Chairman Mark White and I have visited the school and spent time in the Star Academy classrooms, meeting with the teachers and students, and saw firsthand the positive impact it is having on the young children and students in the program. We also have representatives from Star Academy. As many of you know, a $1 million grant that covers 3 years was in last year's budget for the Star Academy program to be implemented in Haywood County Middle School. And I'm going to ask the representatives from Star Academy to please come forward first and tell us more about your program and its success in getting at-risk kids who have fallen behind and unlikely to make it through high school on a path to graduation. So please come forward and have a seat. And we'll probably need to have you turn on your mics. There's a little mouth looking thing. The red light should come on.
Hello.
And be sure your mic's pulled close to you. And if you will, each of you, please, for the record, introduce yourself, your name, and again, who you were with, what you do there. Thank you.
Okay, good morning. Thank you very much for having us. My name is Virginia Robinson. I am the Chief Education Officer for the Star Academy program.
Good morning. My name is John Alvendia. I am the CEO, owner of NOLA Education is the name of the company that owns the Star Academy product.
Richard Hartley. And again, thank y'all for allowing us to be here. And I'm a National Advisory Board member for STAR.
Thank you for that. So we'll let you take it away.
All right. Well, first of all, good morning again, and thank you all for having us here and giving us time to present our Star Academy program to you. Again, my name is John Alvendia. I'm going to do a little PowerPoint to kind of guide this conversation. Let me start out by pointing out why Star Academy was created. There is a need across the country, specifically in the middle school grade levels, where students have unique challenges and are left behind. A lot of these kids are at risk. A lot of them are academically behind by 1 or 2 years, and that's really the reason why this program was created. These kids need a different approach, and one of the things that we pride ourselves at Star Academy is that we have a program that engages these kids. We've been doing this for a while. The program is truly an engaging experience, unlike what they are experiencing in their normal classrooms. Everybody knows and has heard about STEM. We all know that the STEM approach works. When kids work with their hands, when they're figuring out why they need to know the subject material, they get engaged and they really learn it. So our approach employs a STEM approach, but it employs it for core academic subjects. Now, STEM is usually done as a supplemental activity. What we have found is that by creating a solution where they're using basically a STEM approach in all their core subject areas, we can really engage these kids. At the same time, we talk about giving kids career exposures, but normally that's a selection process. Normally that's asking a child to go through a career path. With our program, we are delivering that career exposure in core academic classes. So when they're going to their math, science, ELA, and social studies, they're experiencing that career exposure. A little bit about our history. We were started in 2005 with the Department of Education in South Carolina. We were working with the CTE division of the Department of Education. And the state was experiencing a problem they were trying to solve, which was middle school students in the 8th grade failing that high stakes test for promotion to high school. These kids were piling up essentially in the middle school in the 8th grade, not making that transition to 9th grade, and then eventually dropping out. Statistics show that if a student fails just one time at the 8th grade and are not able to make that promotion, more than 90% of them end up dropping out. We found that to be consistently true throughout the United States as we've gone to different school districts. So in South Carolina, the objective was to create an acceleration program. So get those 8th graders that are a year behind and give them 2 grade levels in 1 year. To do this required a very innovative approach, and that's really the goal of what we do. Now in 2024, just to fast forward, we're in 16 states with this program. We've installed over 100 different sites, and we've served over 20,000 students with this model. We have very strong data, 18 years of data. We're going to show you some of it, but I think the representatives from the school district will be able to speak firsthand about that. But we do have quite a bit of data showing the impact of this program across the country. Let me back up for a second on and kind of tell you about our model. We are a school within a school model. So we work with public schools primarily. We've got a couple charter schools, but primarily we're in middle schools, again, across the country. What we do as a company is we come into a school, a middle school usually, and take a footprint of 5 classrooms, 4 or 5 classrooms. And in those 4 or 5 classrooms, we deliver all the curriculum, project-based hands-on learning curriculum that the kids are going to use. So if you go into a math or science classroom, you'll see workstations set up with computers to guide the kids through the projects. So if the kid is working on a rocket, a robot, earthquake machine, a wind tunnel, we've got a lot of different equipment in these classrooms. The videos are guiding the kids through the experience with the materials, showing the equipment that's at their desks, and they're working together, and usually in pairs. One of the things we like to do is kind of mix up the classroom. Again, typically the kids that are in this program were disengaged and we're struggling. What we're doing is giving them a very different approach. And we all know peer-to-peer instruction or working in pairs really helps when you're trying to learn something. So we kind of make sure we do that. All our projects are hands-on. It's not virtual projects. It's literally career tech ed, old school, working with their hands to go through an experience. And the experiences are in depth. They're 7 to 9 day projects. So it's not some 20-minute little project that you do. Like when I was growing up, where you're cutting open a pig or something and you remember that forever, but that's a one little experience, right? So now we have this 7-day experience where the kids are constantly reminded as they're going through this project, how it relates to the real world and what different careers the concepts they're learning apply to. We do this turnkey. So as NOLA Education, we put Star Academies in turnkey. What that means is we ask for an empty wing of a building. We bring in the furniture, the computers, the equipment. We literally roll up in an 18-wheeler with furniture and equipment. And I'm an electrical engineer by degree, and I wish I had this kind of equipment when I was in high school or middle school. We barely had it in college, but it's a very big change that we put into the classrooms when we do this. And the coolest thing about this and what we've proven over 18 years is that we can replicate this. So there are districts all over the country where you might hear every now and then about something that sounds like this, but to do this requires a talented staff, a lot of background, knowledge of project-based learning, and really kind of the best of all worlds. You go into a Bill Gates sponsored school and they're going to have the best teachers and everything else. The magic of what we do is we actually go into states and just say, give us the most challenged district in the state. We're going to put this in, and in 6 weeks, we'll have it up and running. And in 1 year, we're going to show you the impact that this program makes repeatedly everywhere we put it. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Virginia to talk about our educational approach. She knows way more about it than I do. So, Virginia.
So again, thank you. We really do appreciate your time. Just a quick background on me personally. I was a teacher in Lafayette Parish Louisiana, that's parishes, not counties. While teaching, I was in the school system for 13 years, and I never saw myself teaching a middle school in a middle school environment because I just didn't like being a middle schooler. So I didn't see myself going back in as an adult. And as mentioned earlier, there was another path for me. And at some point, I was given the opportunity to work with our lowest performing school. So we were 99% free and reduced lunch, 100% African American, and we were really struggling because these children needed something very, very different. So there was a grant that came in focused on middle school preparation for the 5 high school career academies that we had. So we knew we had a path for them to go to, but we really were missing that gap in middle school that was helping them to understand which of those paths were good for them. So the district opted to apply for and received a federal grant that would allow us to do just this. So we started with an international baccalaureate program, and over time it switched into a STEM program, and that's when I found Star Academy. So I was charged with finding a way to take what we'd learned over the years from the international baccalaureate and apply those concepts to a STEM school, which was a challenge to say the least. And I was introduced to Star Academy to John, and we went to visit a site in Orlando, Florida. And within moments, I knew that I'd found exactly what it was that we'd been looking for. Our children in particular, and I had become such an advocate for them by then, really needed something to speak to them. They had adults who cared. They had the right culture and the right climate. They knew that they were socially loved and appreciated, but they needed something else to do. They needed a way to apply what they were learning and to really take the knowledge that their teachers had and put it someplace else so they could identify where they were. So that's what this offered. So having the project-based core curriculum was the key for us. Students in our programs are rarely as academically behind as the paperwork would say that they are. The paperwork says you're here. Your ability level is not always presented on that piece of paper. So we knew that if we could take that core curriculum and make it a little more engaging, we could affect the students a little more easily. So we decided that the core curriculum component was key here. We as a company find that it's extremely important to customize as much of this information as possible, as much of these courses as possible. So we offer courses in 7th, 8th, and 9th grade arenas, which means that each time we go into school, we have to do something slightly different for them. So we will go in as a partner, we will meet with the school district's curriculum leaders and their superintendents, and we will talk about which grade level they want to serve. We will talk about what classes they want to serve. My team will then do the deep dive into the state's curriculum requirements for those grade levels, and we'll create a customized academic solution for that school in particular. I think the biggest piece for me, and anyone I think who's worked with any program ever, is in order for a program to be successful and to be implemented with fidelity requires a human element. And so we pride ourselves on providing monthly, on-site, in-person, monthly professional development to all of the teachers that work with our program. So just like we're asking these children to survive in a new engaging environment, we're also asking our teachers to transition into a different instructional environment. And we know that with the right support, they too can be as accelerated as their students are. So we definitely come in, and that allows us to continue that customization. So if we find a teacher who specifically has a need to an area where they can grow, we'll work with the administrator or the superintendent to make that happen. If we find a teacher who really has a space in which they shine, we will find ways to get that person in front of our national other teachers, right, to help them be leaders within our national community. So engagement, we talk about it. I always say if you can't get them there, you're not going to learn anything. So we have, again, 18 years. This is really just one example. So Alabama, Mobile Public Schools is the largest school district there. I think they have 35 or 40,000 students there. We've been working with them now for 11 years. And this is an example of just one school year. We really wanted to see what was happening before and after one semester with our program. So 80 students were served, And you'll look on the left, the red columns are the number of absences and disciplinary referrals that 80 students had between August and December. Just let that sit for a second. 445 absences among 80 students. Really hard to get students to learn when they're simply not in the classroom. That was a huge one. One semester in with us, so from August to December the following year, those same 80 students only missed 51 days of school. Now, we say, well, if they're in, they're causing problems. So we already know that that's not necessarily true, just the status, right? 193 discipline referrals, 80 students, the following semester, 28. So they're engaged, they're showing up, they're behaving, they're learning, they're moving forward. And so this is something that we see time and again. I think this is a standout because it was so dramatic, and I don't think it was a number we'd ever seen before as a company. So we knew for sure this needed to be out there because that absentee rate was really high compared to what we'd seen other places. We also talk about the need to be able to take this into the next space, which is that high school graduation, because ultimately, why get them out of middle school if you can't get them out of high school? So in Georgia, and this is Berrien County, they've been with us now for 7 years. And this is the trend toward graduation. So if you'll see, they were at a 25% graduation rate. Within the time with us, they went from up to an 89.7 graduation rate. This is attributed directly to the Star Academy because we are their 8th and 9th grade solution. So we know what 9th graders are coming in and we know which seniors are then graduating. So we're able to track the students. And we serve the entire 9th grade, the entire 8th and 9th grade. So it's not a small component of a larger school district. This is the actual school district's numbers. So what we know is if we can replicate this time and again over 18 years, you can change over. We found the opportunity last year, and Mr. Hartley will address this specifically, but with that level of data, we had an opportunity to move into Louisiana, which excited us because we're a Louisiana company. So I'll let Mr. Hartley kind of address how we got there and where we've been. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Virginia. I wish I was as an accomplished speaker like Virginia is, but I'm not. So, but I love her enthusiasm. And when I first got acquainted with Star, I heard her presenting. And so I'm going to tell you quickly how I got to where I am such a believer. But it's an honor to speak to you today. And I'm speaking to you as a former principal of a high school of about 2,000 students, former superintendent of schools, and as a senior policy advisor to Governor John Bel Edwards, whose term was ended January the 8th. He had served his 2-term limit. So I'm a former senior policy advisor now. But most of all, I'm speaking to you as a fan or a super fan of the Star Academy. And I will tell you why I came to this conclusion. I took over school in Ouachita Parish, Monroe, Louisiana, about 2,000 students back in the middle 90s. Very troubled school. It was even making national news. It was a national news story about the goats on the roof of that school. And it became a butt of jokes even on some of the Saturday night shows. And it was basically a good school at one point, but it had lost its reputation. It was about a 50-50 black-white school. Students were always fighting. It did not have strong leadership. So the superintendent, Lanny Johnson, called me and he said, Richard, I want to put you over there. I'm going to bring you from the smallest school in the district, put you as superintendent next to the largest school. And as principal of the next to the largest high school in the district. And so I said, sure, I'll take that challenge. People said, you're crazy. Why are you going there? But remember, when you start low, the only place to go is up. And I knew that was a chance for that. And but when I got there, I immediately started studying the data. Almost half of the student body was 2 or more years behind. They had been socially promoted from the junior high schools, and I knew we had to do something. So I went to the state superintendent of education. He did not know me from Adam, and I told him of what I wanted to do. I wanted to create a school within a school, and I was going to call it the A+ Academy, a place of learning and understanding for students. Needless to say, I thought that when I knocked on his door in Baton Rouge, I'd not get a response, but he said, I promise you, he said, I want to do something like this. And if you'll go see Governor Foster, I think we can get some money to do a grant for you. He said, and you'll still have to write the grant papers. I said, that's no problems. I can do that. Make a long story short, Governor Foster in that year's budget put $2 million for alternative education. They said, if you get it through, and I had to go to the House and Senate committees and request it, but they gave me $200,000 right off the top, even though I had to do the grant, which was glad to. But I wanted to do something like Star Academy. I had no idea of what Star Academy was because it did not exist. So I went all over online looking at places. I went all over the state looking at different modules where students were doing complete immersion project-based learning. And so I had a group of dedicated teachers that got with me, and they developed a curriculum very similar to what John and his team does with Star Academy. And I didn't know it was a Star Academy, but we had the semblance of a Star Academy on the high school. The kids did exceptionally well. Those kids who were 2 or more years behind, they did our video yearbook. They created the first online radio station for a high school in the state of Louisiana. We had many firsts. We took them on trips overseas. The community bought into it because they could see that these kids were really excelling. And the beauty of it in this school, once I was able to start serving those kids, the other kids were able to excel, and it all works together. Well, make a long story short, I was working with Governor Edwards, and he had a meeting with former governor of Arkansas, Asa Hutchinson, who told him about the Star Academy. So he called me into his office and he said, look, I want to have these folks from Star Academy come and present. I want you in here. And then John and his team showed up and started telling me about Star Academy, or telling the governor and me. And immediately I knew that was what I had tried to do when I was principal at Ouachita High School. And I started thinking in my mind, this would have been manna from heaven had it existed back then, but unfortunately it didn't. So what didn't take us long, we decided that yes, the governor was going to spend some of his gear money and look at other funding mechanisms to put some Star Academies in Louisiana. We looked at a lot of our failing school districts and tried to pick out the schools that were having difficulty. First year, we did 7 academies in Virginia. You can see the growth of that. And then we added 11 more, and they have just been going like gangbusters. And I will tell you, everything that she says they do, they follow through. And I'm so proud of that. Y'all stars never faded with me. I'm telling you, it's
Nice.
really good. And I had a chance to talk about Star Academy. Y'all were the computer science education. I was so happy to hear that because a couple of years ago, I was in Bentonville, Arkansas with Governor Bill Lee and Governor Hutchinson, and we were on a committee about computer science education. We were doing presentations, and I got to talk about Star Academy in that too. So it's a thing that I know investing in pays off. You do have value, so much value, and it's immediate success. When students realize they've had these learning gaps that STAR addresses, and they continue, whether they go to a high school that has much STAR or STEM classes, they continue, they don't regress because the Star Academy has taught them the things that they needed to know to continue their learning process. And I know I've kind of rambled, but it's such a great program. And I will wind it up with this. I was an at-risk kid. I was one of 11 kids, Forest City, Madison, Arkansas, all over the state of Mississippi. My dad was an alcoholic. He later served time in Parchman Penitentiary in Mississippi. He had a 5th grade education. My mom a 7th grade education. And I was a kid in the classroom that sat and never participated, never got engaged. I had teachers that recognized that though and started doing things that brought me out. I had no idea I'd wind up being a mathematics and a physics teacher and doing what I've done. But I know it's worth investing in young people. And so I'm excited to be here, and hopefully we can help y'all by answering any questions. Thank you.
I'm going to go ahead and play a video from Haywood County Schools before we introduce our guests from the district. Let's see. There you go.
I've been in education almost 30 years now. And during that time, instruction has changed dramatically. And we see a void for children. And what Star Academy does is re-engage them. It gets them interactive. with other children. That means that they learn.
I think STAR is a very important program to keep in schools because it's different. It's what the future of education is going to be.
I can see the transition from where they're coming from a regular classroom to now, like just the smiles from when they first got here, but now they touching the projects, they're seeing it, getting all this good information, and I believe we're moving forward.
Star Academy is helping the students become leaders because sometimes while we in the groups, I have the students to read, and that's just building their confidence up because they might struggle, but because this is a safe environment in the classroom, they're comfortable with making mistakes, and they know that their classmates going to help them.
Since we started Star Academy, I noticed a big change in a lot of the students. More of them are willing to learn. More of them are engaged in the lessons.
In Star Academy, I feel that you learn quicker and faster in the classrooms, and you get to work with different people and get to know them a lot better.
They have a sense of pride for Star Academy. They are a group of students who were chosen, and they feel special because they are.
In Star Academy, they're working with a partner. They're working with somebody who's encouraging them. They're working with somebody who's pushing them.
I like science because that's where I really get to do hands-on stuff. In Star Academy, I already feel like I'm preparing for nursing, and it's like I'm already doing it now.
I feel like it's different because there's a lot of stuff that's tied into the curriculum as well. There's career exploration, so let's get them exposed early to those early post-secondary opportunities. That way, when they do get to high school, hopefully they have an easier decision of what my future career and my path to success looks like.
I know all my kids will reach their potential, what they're put here to do, whatever goal they have set out in front of them, I know they'll achieve it, and I'm proud. I've really never been proud of much growing up, but this is one thing that I can truly say I'm proud of, to be a part of.
To ensure that children succeed, as long as it's not immoral, unethical, or illegal, I will go there. This program gives you an opportunity to do something different.
In order for kids to learn, they have to know that they're cared for. They have to know that teachers show up for them.
Since I'm a coach and a teacher, and they know I can relate to them, they know they can ask me for advice, and I'm just always there for them.
Star Academy class is like the wind. You can walk in, you're gonna feel it. Like you feel nothing but greatness.
STAR definitely changes lives. It changes the lives of my students, my teachers, my fellow administrators, myself, and eventually it's going to change the lives of the people in this community as well.
All right. Well, we'll turn it over. We'll turn it over now to the superintendent.
Thank you. And members, they're going to still hang around. So after we hear our superintendent and the students' presentations, then we'll take questions from both groups.
So I've brought a few young ladies with me today, and I'm so glad that Star Academy did this introduction. I've actually never seen that video. So it was amazing to see that for the first time. I mean, we all were part of doing it, but it was good to see it all put together.
Will you, excuse me, make sure and introduce yourself
Yes.
again and have them do the same thing. Thank you.
And I'm Amy Marsh. I am the superintendent for Haywood County Schools, and we were so excited to bring Star Academy to Haywood County at the start of this school year that we're currently in. We have some ladies who have participated in Star Academy and some who haven't, because I think it's important for you to hear not only for the children who did participate, but for those who didn't get to participate, because it's a cohort of 80, and maybe what it is they feel that it might have done for them had they had that opportunity. So I'm going to go down the line, and I'm sure you recognize this young lady from the video, and let them introduce themselves.
Good morning. My name is Jasmine Anderson.
My name is Cadence Pearson.
My name is Deshaya Russell.
And say which grade you're in.
I'm in 7th.
8th.
8th.
And currently, Star Academy in Haywood Middle School is for 7th grade students. We would like to see it go into 8th grade because, as you see, it makes quite an impact for our 7th grade students. And rather than see them return to a regular classroom that isn't quite as engaging for them, we would like to see that continue for them. So that's why I've brought students from 7th and 8th grade today. And I think it's most impactful that you hear from them. But I will share some data myself at the end to kind of tell you where our progress and what our story is as a district. But we're going to go ahead and start with our student who is in Star Academy currently. And they were a little nervous, understandably. So they, of course, put it on their phones and are going to share with you what they're feeling.
Good morning. My name is Jasmine Anderson, and I am a STAR student at Haywood Middle School. STAR Academy is a hands-on learning program and a technical program. In STAR Academy, we all work on different lessons, and we all learn different things. Also in Star Academy, it gave me a chance to work with other students in the lab when we have to do our rotations. In the regular classes, I was confused and frustrated and didn't understand what was going on in those classes. Now in Star, I understand and know what to do. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Cadence Pearson. I'm in the 8th grade and I attend Haywood Middle School. I would like to start by saying Star Academy is a wonderful hands-on program, and the kids really do light up coming inside and out the classroom. They come out talking about the experiments they did and how it was just, they had so much fun. They got to meet new people, and it works. It does build up your confidence when you're around other people your age talking about or engaging in a lesson that you have to do with other people. And I do feel like that when kids do hands-on things, it helps them engage more, because you can look back on the memories and be like, oh, well, I dropped a rock in this class and that was gravity. It can relate back to what you just learned when you've done it hands-on yourself.
Now, did you have the experience of Star Academy?
I did not.
Okay, and how did you know what you just shared?
The children, they talk about it.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Ashari Russell, and I'm an 8th grader at Haywood Middle School. Today, we're on a topic about the STAR program and why we should include STAR for upcoming grades other than 7th grade. I didn't get to experience STAR my 7th grade year, but what I have liked to, yes. STAR looks more like a hands-on program. You aren't just in class, reading the books every day in class and quiz on every week, which is what we do in regular classes. You do a lot of projects in STAR, and you get to work with your classmates every day. They also have computers, which I see them on most of the time I walk past. Having computers in your room with them helps with technology, because by the time we graduate school, more and more things will be running off technology. STAR makes it fun for kids to come to school. You get to actually learn while also enjoying yourself with your teachers and classmates. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Did you have the opportunity to participate in Star Academy this year?
No, I didn't.
Do you wish that you had?
Yes.
Do you think it would have made a difference, either of you, and how you felt about this school year?
Yes.
How? You know I'm a teacher. I'm going to ask these questions.
It would have made a difference because I learned by seeing and by doing things.
It would have made it a lot easier to get up in the morning, because when I get up, if I had went to school and be like, oh, it's a lab day, or I get to drop rocks and cornstarch today. I get to go do something instead of just sitting there reading a textbook while everybody else is either asleep or trying to occupy their time.
Yes, thank you.
And that's why I felt it was important to bring these young ladies today.
Can I ask you, if you don't mind, I see they brought you a seat, but if you'll speak in the microphone, then the people that are probably joining us online, they can't hear you without being on the microphone. So I don't want them to lose any more of the things you're saying too.
Absolutely.
So carry on. Thank you.
So this is why I wanted you to see, and I have that teacher voice, so I'm so used to being loud, it doesn't faze me. So I apologize. Thank you. But that's why I wanted you to hear from each of these ladies today. One who's had the experience and who's benefited from it, but also two who didn't get that opportunity. And unfortunately, as they go on to 9th grade next year, they won't. But as you heard from them, what they are interested in is letting other students get the experience that they didn't benefit from. And I think that's important that we recognize that and we listen to their voices, because that does make a difference. You saw the data around attendance and you saw the data around discipline. And I am very data oriented. I was a math teacher, math and science teacher. And what our data shows us is that our attendance rates for our STAR students versus our non-STAR students is relatively similar, whereas before it would have been a lot lower for the non-STAR group. And with discipline, when they're engaged in learning, there isn't as much conflict. There isn't as much to get into other than the work that they're engaged in, because they're excited about it, right? So that engagement is important. And that's why it's not that they're making poor choices. It's that they weren't engaged. They weren't excited about what they were doing, and they weren't involved in what they're doing. And that's why this program, I think, is so important. And that's why I was excited about bringing it to Haywood County Schools and the governor's support to do that with a 7th grade cohort. But what I would like to see is that continue for our 8th grade students. And I told you I would share some data with you. I actually just pulled all of this data last night because we just finished our 3rd benchmark assessment. So I stayed up late and made sure I had this data for y'all today, because I think it's important to recognize. What I did was take a look at the students in Star Academy, their TVAS projections from last year's test, and looked at their their performance on our district benchmark assessment, which is based on those same state standards that they'll be tested on. And what we saw was that our by content area, our language arts students, 29 out of 65 total enrolled in the program, had a 44.6% of those grew in language arts. Over half grew in language arts. In science, 43 out of the 65 grew, that's 66.2%. In social studies, 27 out of 65 grew, which is a total of 41.5%. In the world of education, when you're looking at percentages in the 40s and 50s and 60s, that's growth. That's tremendous. And the school year's not done yet. That benchmark assessment tested all standards that are to be taught in the year. And we all know the year's not over and the state test hasn't happened. So I expect to see even more growth as we move forward with that. So we're really excited about that work. We even looked at across content areas, and every child, 56 out of 65 total enrolled, and at least one content area grew 65%. So that is tremendous growth. I truly believe, and that's kind of my mantra, what I said in the video, if it's not unethical, immoral, or illegal, I'm willing to consider it for children. And I think this program, especially as it grows, this was our first year. We got in right under the wire. She is not kidding. The semi pulled up like days before school started, and people were scurrying everywhere to get it ready, right? We were also what she said is very true. They are extremely supportive in terms of professional development for teachers, coming back, checking in monthly, giving them feedback, and helping not just the teachers grow, but the students. But we all know if the teachers don't grow, the students won't grow. So that professional development that's built into that is so important. The equipment that comes with that. As I said, I'm a former science teacher. There is no way we could have all those materials in our classroom that they use on every 7-day program of work that they do. I mean, I was the teacher who, my principal, she loved me, but she hated to see me coming because I was always burning something, blowing something up, because that's how you get their attention, right? That's what Star Academy does. It gets their attention. These students might start out behind, or they might just be bored out of their mind. What Star Academy does is get them engaged. Everybody can learn, but you got to care about what you're learning. That's what Star Academy does for them. And I am so sorry to these 2 young ladies who didn't get that opportunity, but I'm so proud of them for being willing to come and say, this is what we want to see for the people who come behind us, because we watched it this year and we didn't get to do it. And we wish we had. So we're going to make sure they have a really awesome high school experience through our amazing CTE program. But I just appreciate your time today. I appreciate you taking the time to listen to us and being willing to listen to what the children are saying. I know we have 2 moms with us of these girls who, I don't know what kind of time we have, but if we have a moment, I know at least one of them is willing to speak on her experience with Star Academy, because her daughter was in the academy this year.
We'd love to hear from you. We do have some time.
I warned him I was going to, that's what I do. That's what teachers do. We've got great wait time.
Thank you for coming and being willing to participate. I'm glad it worked out.
You're welcome.
Yeah, please tell us your name again for the record. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Clarissa Jones. I'm Jasmine Anderson's mom. And what Jasmine had stated is very true. In the 6th grade, she was frustrated because they would give them the theory, they would give them the material through the book, but she didn't have anything to connect what they was teaching to. And so when the tests came around, she would forget what they was teaching months before, and it was showing up in her report card. So the Star Academy gave her that leverage she needed, and it built up her confidence because she knew she was smart. She knew she was bright, but not having that resource she needed to help her show that was frustrating to her. But this year at Star Academy, she has been happy. She's been looking forward to go to school. She's been really engaging with her teachers, talking with her teachers. She go to her teacher and say, how come my grade isn't right here? Or I'm missing some points. So she want to make sure that every effort that she does is accounted for. And I'm proud of her. And I'm thankful for what Star Academy had afforded her to be able to do. And I really hope that you consider stretching it out for more babies, for more children. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning. I am Cadence Pearson's mom. I first saw Star Academy, like she said, when we came in and we were touring the school. But I just want to take it just a little bit broader for you all. Star Academy is great, but if we don't put in our kids what we want them to learn and what we want to instill in them, they're going to be the people who are going to be operating on us or at Walmart doing these different things. And we do have a great CTE building. So I have a workforce background. So if we're teaching them now in Star Academy to use their hands and visualize things and do those things, then we're building our workforce and building our community to help those kids stay in our community and work in our workforce that we're building there. Of course, everybody knows Haywood County is going to be famous for Blue Oval, right? So if we have those kids that are in Star Academy and then going into the CTE, or if we can extend Star Academy to some sort of high school education, then there we are back to building our workforce and instilling in our kids what we want them to learn and do in our community.
Thank you so much. Thank you again. Members, if you would like, if y'all will stay right there. Do you have any questions or comments for the students or for Superintendent Marsh? I see we do have a list going, so Representative Glenn, you're welcome to speak.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, Chair Lady. I'm sorry. Thank you, Madam Chair Lady. And thank you all for being here. I will be honest with you. I am really impressed with this program and what you all have brought before us today. It sounds like something that should be emulated across the state, to be honest with you. And the fact that you only have it in the 7th grade right now is really a shame. We really do need to look at bringing it to different levels. And to the 3 young ladies who are sitting up here, it is truly a blessing to see you all sitting here, and I'm not sure you were nervous at all because you really spoke very well, and you really impressed me in the way that you delivered your speech, and I appreciate that. And so I say all that to say this, that as we go forward in this and in making sure that our kids are ready for the next level and ready for the day when they enter the workforce, I really and truly think you 3 are the example of what it's going to look like, and I really appreciate what you're doing. So congratulations.
Thank you for that. We have members going in and out at this time of year. They're presenting bills in other committees. So I know when you have a presentation like this, everybody hates to leave because they want to hear it all. But, okay, Representative Hicks, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair Lady. Thank you for being here. This is exciting to hear. I also was a student many years ago that I just couldn't learn through books. And today, I mean, I still have to work extremely hard here to get things through reading. But you know what? I mean, my father taught me how to work, and I've been a successful home builder, for many years, but just from learning and doing with my hands. So it's extremely important. I've often said that innovation in education is what we need moving forward. I try to look 15 or 20 years down the road, okay? And what you all are doing now, I see that 15 or 20 years down the road being common practice in education. I would hope so, because I think we're all learning. These students are extremely bright, okay? And in some ways, I believe that our education systems anymore is holding them back instead of turning them loose a little bit. Question I have is, how do the policies that we make, or how does the departments, or how does education as a whole, through testing or other ways, hold what you all are trying to do back, or does it hold it back some? And is there something that we need to start looking at to help this move forward, maybe in an easier, better manner? That's my question.
So in response to that, I would say we just talked about the fact that STAR is a $1 million program, and it includes all the equipment, all the furniture, all the professional development that allows this kind of teaching to take place. Teachers don't come out of college knowing how to teach like this. They have to learn. And so I think the best way that can be supported is through supporting initiatives like this that allow money to come into the school setting that could pay for that. If we had not received a grant, I could not have done this for Haywood County Schools. There wasn't an extra $1 million laying around that would have allowed us to do that. And so I think the funding, when it's monitored and we ensure that it goes to programs that support this type of hands-on learning, would be very important. As well as the coaching and support for teachers that goes along with that. There's lots of things I think, being in education 30 years now, I could tell you lots of things that I think would help or be better. But if I'm picking one, that's my one today to share.
Thank you. We had Chairman White had a question, but he's gone to present a bill, so maybe he'll get back. But, having members, as I said earlier, Chairman White and I got to visit right before Christmas, I believe. And Superintendent Marshall, will you tell the members how long you've been at Haywood County as superintendent?
I just completed my first year on February 1st. I came in the middle of a school year. And as soon as I arrived, I had some very specific ideas around how we can improve and change the trajectory of the school system for children and our community. I was an assistant superintendent previously in Memphis Shelby County Schools over all of K-12 curriculum and instruction, and left that position because of my desire to implement something like this, because of my desire to improve an entire community and provide opportunities for children that will last them a lifetime. You said it best. These are 3 very intelligent young ladies, and we have schools full of them. We just need to give them an opportunity. And I feel that everyone's in a place for a reason at a time. And I think this was my place and my reason and my time.
Amen. I wanted to be sure you knew how she hit the ground running. She didn't. No grass grows under her feet.
I had been in 3 months when we started talking about Star Academy. That's how fast it was.
But it's been we're excited for our district to have you there, and I think, as you took us around, that was the one thing I think, it was pointed out to us, even that the students are partnered with someone, and something was said about how if their partner's not there, they're calling and checking on them. Where are you? Why aren't you at school today? You're missing this, and just engaging them. Whereas before, sometimes when you're in the larger part of the school, you lose that connection with somebody. Does anybody even know you're missing? And as students, I know our teachers do, but that was encouraging. But sometimes when we go on these school tours and you walk in and then everybody stops and they're looking at who's in the room and all. They were so engaged. I don't think they even paid attention to us, which is fine. We wanted to see them continuing doing what they were loving to do. And that was real impressive. And then we got to speak to the young man at the end. And so I asked him, he was a great athlete, but just struggled academically. And so he was able to participate in this program. And he was so happy. He was so excited. And so as a mother, I asked him, I said, well, because of this program, do you see yourself now? In looking to your future, do you see yourself as being able to maybe stay in the area and not have to leave and go away so far to have a future and what your future looks like? And he said, oh, yes, ma'am. And I said, well, as a mother, I would make me so happy to know that my children weren't thinking they would have to go far away to make a good living and contribute to your community where you've been raised. And so I don't know. I thought it was very impressive. So when I knew we were going to have the time, I wanted to let them come and share with you all and just see. We see lots of good things, and I'm always, as we all are, happy to brag on our districts. But Superintendent Marsh, one more question. And not only did she take on this, but our university, would you kind of delve into that? The Tipton.
Oh,
University.
HTL.
Yes. The
Yes,
HTL.
ma'am. Yeah, I love to talk about that. We are embarking. I think collaboration is important, and I think Star Academy demonstrates the importance of collaboration. And in that spirit of collaboration, after coming into the position, I coupled with Tipton and Lauderdale County, and we are working on a program called HTL, Haywood, Tipton, Lauderdale. The H is first, yes. And as part of that program, we are working to expand our CTE options at the high school level. And we're doing that through a collaboration because all our money together does more than each of our money individually in our own districts. And we've been working on that since the day I walked in the door. We spoke at GovCon, and I'm excited to share that we just got an email from the state, and they are funding 3 positions that will work in actually 4, but 3 that one will work in each district to ensure the collaboration, not just across our 3 districts, but extend that reach throughout the state to ensure that our students have access and opportunities that they would not have otherwise had. And so we're really excited about that program. And again, not that I work for Star Academy, because I don't, but what Star Academy does is lead them into that pathway, that thought process of thinking about careers, so that when they get to high school and when they have these pathway options and when they're considering their post-secondary opportunities, they have better ideas about what it is they can do. When you look at that science program, and I always gravitate to that because that was my favorite thing to teach, but they're talking about the human body. They're talking about energy. They're talking about food science. Help me out.
Weather, aquaculture, soils, pollution. You said hidden energy?
I did not say hidden energy.
Hidden energy and carbon footprint. And there's one more. I just don't know what it is.
But these are the modules that they're learning in middle school. So you get exposure to all these things you would not have otherwise gotten. And as you go into high school, it helps you. I'm good at this. I like this. This might be a pathway I'm interested in. So Star Academy is a natural lead-in to a well-developed CTE program at the high school level, which we're also working to expand. I kind of do burn the candle at both ends with that. But I do that because it's important. It's important that we give our kids opportunities. It's important that they can see themselves doing these things. And again, I mean, I've heard blue oval till I'm blue in the face, literally. But
This is a once in a lifetime catalytic opportunity for our children to get jobs in their community, doing things they're interested in and staying in their community instead of moving out of it. And that excites me. And STAR is the first step in that.
Thank you so much. Thank you for allowing me
And that
to
was a
let
long
her.
answer. I'm sorry.
No,
But
well, I want it just, and like you said, it can be replicated across the state. So it's a great opportunity for all our children. Representative Glenn, I'll hush now.
Thank you, Madam Chair Lady. And I actually had one question, but also I forgot to really thank the moms back there as well for you all being here and just the support you give for your kids and actually their education. I commend you for that. But I had a question for the young lady here on the end. You actually in the program.
Yes, sir.
Okay. How did you feel? So you're in the 7th. So when you were in the 6th, did you feel like getting up, going to school every day compared to where you're at now in terms of getting up and coming to learn?
No, sir. I didn't feel like getting up to go to school because it was so frustrating and confusing. And it was like I wasn't learning anything in 6th grade. But now I'm actually ready to go to school. Like last week when we was on spring break, I told my mom, I was like, I'm ready to go back to school. I'm ready to
she
go back
did.
to
She told me in the
school."
car she was bored.
I was bored. I really was. Star Academy is just for me. It is like a second home, but it's just I'm in classes with other people.
Wow, that's amazing. So I really appreciate this program y'all bringing. Thank you so much.
And I would like to add that in the vein of collaboration, it also teaches social skills, which we know are so important. And even those soft skills that we know our children who are kind of slaves to these phones and computers sometimes lack because they're having to work with others. It is a team effort. They're having to work with one another, make decisions together, compromise together. And another child who isn't here with us today actually said in one of our meetings, he said, no, it was a girl who said, I actually found out I like some of those people I didn't think I liked. And to hear that out of a 7th grade child's mouth is huge. So it isn't just the academics we're teaching them, it's the social skills and the collaborative teamwork that they're going to need in the workplace of the future.
Yeah, that was evident that day we were there. It
Mhm.
was good. Well, remember, if we have no more questions for our students and a superintendent, do the ones that are left have questions for the Star Academy folks that you'd like to ask them? we
Please.
we hear that often in here. Well, thank you all so much, moms, students, superintendent, and Star Academy. Thank you for taking the time to come up here today. I hope you enjoy your time here. If we can be of any service, reach out to us. But we will be in touch as always, and look forward to hearing the update of the data, of course, and just see what all we can do. But thank you again for coming.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate you all so very much. Thank you. All right, we'll go back in session. We have a little housekeeping to do in my chairing this committee. There's always something to learn. On Chairman White's bill, House Bill 2242, I passed it out as going to calendar and rules. It's supposed to go to GovOps. So we will be sure the chairman knows that. And having, I want to announce to us, the ones here, and we'll make sure the other ones know. Thank you. So next Tuesday, March the 26th, should be our final calendar, but we're going to close subject to the call of the chair. You know how it goes at this time of year. But seeing nothing else on the agenda, we are now adjourned. And thank you all so much. Thank y'all for staying and helping out.